First time doing incline presses in, I want to say, over a month, possibly because the gym had been closed for a while and I wasn't doing incline pressing or anything at the commercial gym. So I went back into the dumbbell pressing now that the weights are back. So the idea was to get a couple of challenging sets without getting exactly to the weight that I was doing before this break. So I stayed at 20 kilos, and with those I was doing higher repetitions. So I did 12 in the first set, 10 in the second one, and in between I was doing some handstands, but they weren't really feeling the best. I think that pairing these together on a high rep set like this one here, even though it's not close to my maximum, is still putting enough of a strain on the upper body musculature that it's then kind of difficult for me getting into a position where I'm able to stack all my joints in a line. It's a bit harder for me to actually flex my shoulders all the way. There's probably too much blood pumping in the area, and that kind of hinders my ability really to get a nice vertical line. So in here I was ending up resetting and starting a new one, but even then I noticed that I'm not really able to get into a good line. There is a bit of a compensation from the low back there. I see there's a banana handstand waiting to happen. So that was the same for the second set really, but in that case I was facing the wall, so it was probably a bit better then. This is the second set, and I remember when I was doing sets with 22 kilos, I was at 10 reps each. And what I was saying back then was that I wanted to progress these incline presses in a rep range that is between 8 and 12 repetitions. I think that's still the case. I'm going to go back to 22 kilos in a couple of weeks from now, because the next week I will be doing weighted dips. And this is the way that I am alternating these two exercises. My rotation is kind of long when it comes to pressing movements, because I need to account for both horizontal and vertical pressing. So I tend to do pressing days every other day or so that I can get a pulling day in between. And because then I'm doing a bunch of different stuff and trying to get the whole body moving every time, I am not really able to get these exercises a couple of times a week. And if I'm then able to cycle through different variations that challenge the musculature in from a bunch of different angles, I hope that in the long run this is going to be lenient on my joints, and I can keep these going for a while. And that's also why I'm also doing stuff like single leg squats, getting a bit of a unilateral challenge on the legs, staying at lower repetitions. Now that I finally have access to the dumbbells, I can really work on these low reps, high intensity. So 24 kilo dumbbells for now 5 reps. I believe the previous week I did 4 on each leg for a couple of sets, and then now I just went up on the first set of each for a 1 extra rep. The second one I was staying at 4. So again, cycling through the progression, that's probably going to be 4 to 6 reps per leg. I need to take into account that this exercise takes a bit longer because I'm working each leg separately, and it's not really like the other leg is not doing anything in the meantime. It's still stabilizing to an extent, while the quads and the glutes on the leg that's working are doing most of the work. And the superset is the usual upright rows. I have not forgotten about the upright rows with the cables, but because this little setup is kind of convenient, I can get these 2 dumbbells and rep those upright rows out as soon as I'm done with the single leg squats. The progression that I have envisioned for this, because I believe the dumbbells go only up to 30 kilos, is to make my way up to those weights and eventually being swapping exercises, so that I will be doing at some point these single leg squats in the other gym, the commercial gym, on the Smith machine. This would allow me to really load to my heart's content and still managing to stay within low rep ranges. I don't really want to go high rep ranges on single leg movements like this. The aim is primarily to build some raw strength, and also the reason why I was going for single leg variation on this thing. I'm also doing 2 other days in a week where I'm doing bilateral squat variation. So I'm going to do a back squat in a few days and also front squats. So keeping this as low as possible rep wise and trying to get as much strength as I possibly can with that.